Hey, 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 how you doing, lady?
20.
Twin.
We call this here a little twin.
What's up with you though? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm just trying to get involved as much as possible during this OTA week. It's a big week. I know you
Yes.
said yesterday, like football. Kind of. You was like football kind of asterisks.
Yeah, because they're gonna be leaving in a couple weeks, and we're gonna be, craving for more football. But it's here right now. OTAs started this week. The first open portion to the media. A lot to get into, and we're gonna try to give you as much as we can in this episode. Again, this is the first episode of what will be many. We are going to start this guy into IIsha and try to give you our opinions together multiple times a month. Hopefully, a weekly by the time we get here for the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday, there was a press conference that took place before the practice. And one of the things that I kind of put on Twitter was, hey, man, I love that Cowboys Nation is finally getting a chance to see and hear who Brian Schottenheimer is, because I get it. When he was offensive coordinator, a lot of people don't listen to those pressers. But in those pressers were so many different nuggets of his football mind, his personality, that this isn't a shocker to me. And when he became a candidate as a head coach, I had wrote, hey, I don't think this is for play, because he can command a room, and he's doing that with the media and clearly with the players, because they're really feeling Schotty to the point where I feel like they're going to run through a wall for this coach. And I don't know if that translates on the field, but right now in the offseason, they're all kumbaya.
Yeah, no, for sure. I personally think it will translate because we've seen it translate for other teams. I think about, obviously, D'Amico Ryans being a former player, but the way that his players talk about him is the vibe I'm starting to get from Schotty. I think we're entering into a time now, especially with these younger guys, NIL deals and things like that. You got to incentivize these guys with mentorship, with coaching, with real sustenance. To me, I don't think we can just, like, these kids are asking. I asked a scout, what's the difference between this generation and the old generation? He said this generation asks why when you tell them what they have to do. That was something I even saw in the military as well towards my end of my tenure. So I think Schotty gets incentivizing these guys with his presence and his care. And I think when I look at him and I listen to him talk, I hear somebody that has a deep love for this game.
Yes.
And that's echoed in your points, guy, is like last year, I would walk away from his pressers refreshed. I would walk away from his pressers feeling like I learned something. I would also walk away being like, well, that ain't what the heck goes.
Facts. That's facts.
Because they did have a difference in philosophy.
100%.
But I saw somebody tweet yesterday and they said that Schotty sounds like someone, and I'm sorry, I should have screenshotted so I can give you your credit. Schotty sounds like someone that is waited for this moment and prepared for this moment, and he got a plan, and he ain't trying to mess it up. He like, it's my shot.
So one of the things that I feel like Schotty is hammering home more than ever, and not just because the media is bringing it up, but because he wants to continue to bring it up, is that buzzword culture. Is culture. And Dak Prescott said something to me that stuck out when they asked him, hey, what's the difference between this culture and previous cultures? And he was like, the process and how they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the approach of how we're building it. I think a lot of times may in the past, I've said it, and I've maybe just been talking, and not just talking or naive in a sense of talking about how great just the offenses was, right? And not necessarily the team, and not necessarily offense connecting with defense, connecting with special teams. So I believe that Schotty's doing it the right way from the top down of take the offense and defense away from it, take the positions away from it, take the coach and player aspect away from it, and let's connect.
And when I was listening to Schotty, he had brought up how, look, man, we want to peel back the layers of this thing. We want them to get to know each other so that they are not out there just playing as brothers, but they're playing for the person of who that person is, right? The love of that, having that love for that person. So when things get, you get in those trenches and things get tight, you're trying to basically run through a wall for that guy next to you as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then also too, I think him wanting to be connective and You hear him talking about taking the players to lunch, to dinner, to different things like that. He also, too, and I've heard this from multiple coaches, it's important to know what makes your players tick individually. You know, what really does it for them, what really inspires them, or whatever the case may be. Because if you know that stuff, then when you get into a game, right, and you know you need a touchdown right here, you know what to say or do to invoke what you need out of that player at that time. Like sometimes we speak life into people all the time and encourage people in how we talk to them all the time. Like coaches have to be able to do that. They got to be able to dig deep sometimes and talk to these guys to bring out the best in them. And I think that Schotty is very connective and passionate about what he does. You can tell he just takes this seriously. He does not.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what Dak was saying about the process. Also, too, I will say the front office feels married to the coaching staff a lot more than what it was before.
Yeah, there's an alignment there, cohesion.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely, yes. And I think that ties into what Dak said about the process and things going smoother. There's not a whole bunch of bumps in the road because everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, there's no Kellen Moore running his offense. Mike McCarthy doesn't like it, but he's forced to have Kellen. There's none of that. This is the first time in a long time I do think there is that cohesion. And something else that stuck out from a football standpoint is he had mentioned we're going to go how our O-line goes.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
even more important, he said they're going to play really physical and be tone setters. Right?
Yes.
I didn't hear that a lot with the previous regime. There is a direct mission for that front line, and when they went out and got Clayton Adams, I think that really set the tone already. So get ready for this team, not just to be a running team, power running team, but for this offensive line to just be a more physical squad up front, and that starts with the mentality and the philosophy that Schotty's trying to set.
Yeah, and then obviously bringing in Connor Riley from Kansas State with his success that he saw up there. Again, even during I think Vach and those guys, they asked me yesterday, like, how do you feel about this process? And I was like, immediately when you see a Junior Adams being brought in, a Connor Riley being put in, a Clayton Adams, I'm like, oh, they really want to improve this run game and this offense as a whole. They do. Like, this is something they want to take seriously. And I agree with you. I think that we're gonna see them try to dominate the line of scrimmage, and I think they feel like that's necessary, given what you got going on in your division, especially too.
Oh yeah. You needed to. You heard McClay bring this up a couple years ago when they drafted, I believe it was Tyler Smith. He was like, "Hey, you saw who the Eagles drafted right before that, right?" And it was Jordan Davis. So they were kind of trying to make sure they match serve with their division rivals, who now so happen to be two of the teams that played the NFC Championship game. And both of those teams have guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got three. When you talk about tone setting, I think you got three guys on the interior that want to set the tone.
Mm-hmm. No,
and
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's going to help you moving forward, especially, man, that first game of the season going to be something that's going to be.
I want to put a pin in that because they did something in practice we'll get to in the later part of the show. By the way, we should have introduced it this way, but we're going to do down segments is how we're doing here. So that was first down, talking about the Schotty presser. Let's get to second down, where Dak Prescott was a full participant on the field, and that seemed to surprise a lot of people. Did that kind of take you back a little bit, or is that something you were like, hey, man, I've been seeing this guy around, and I knew he would be ready?
No, I wasn't surprised. Like, Dak, you know how DeMarvion Overshown was like, hey, I'll be there Thanksgiving. Love y'all. See you. Dak has that energy, too. They can't stay away from the game too long, but I also know that he took his rehab very seriously and recovering from his hamstring and all that stuff. So I expected for him to be ready for OTAs. Also, too, I think he understands how much he needs to be there. I mean, that's why he didn't hold out during he didn't not go to practices when he was waiting for his contract, because he understands that other guys are dependent on his play. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're in an install period, and he's the leader. So I expected for him to be there, bro.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were like taking back that the injury aspect, that he was not held back from that standpoint. There was even a tweet from, I think it was Nick Harris, who said, let me make sure I quote this right, Dak Prescott flashed his legs a couple times in today's session, and honestly took more reps than I expected him to. I think that former part, that first part of that there is huge. That
Yes.
Dak flashed it. At first when I read it, I'm like, he flashed his legs. Wait a minute now. That don't sound right. But then I had to say, oh, he meant he used his legs. I'm like, this is weird. But pause if necessary.
You're
but
sick. You're sick.
but the fact that Dak is out there moving like that after tearing his hamstring off the bone in that way, and we're in OTAs, that is a great sign moving forward.
That's fantastic. And honestly, I didn't need to see him practice. I saw him warming up. And when he was warming up and they were just going through stretches, he was doing his A skips, B skips and stuff. He was like kicking his leg up like as he was stretching. And it was just like one fluid motion. And it was, I mean, I didn't know he was that, because I've been concerned about his flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I can't wait to get with him and see if that is something he was like actively working on during his rehab, because he looks more flexible.
He looks slimmer a little bit too.
Yeah. Oh no, he's definitely very lean, but he looks more flexible in like in his movement. He's always been a stiff player. He's always been kind of stiff.
Yeah.
He doesn't look as stiff right now to me.
I think that's big, you know.
No, when I watched him stretch, and especially with me being in the military, like stretching was essential, but you could tell how flexible people were with their stretching. And I watched him stretch, and I'm just like, I don't know if I've seen him stretch this like loosely. He was real loose. Let me say that. I felt like he's a lot more loose, and maybe that's being relaxed. Maybe that's because the music was blasted all practice, and that's something different. I know people were tweeting about that. Man, I pulled up to the star. I said, the BET Awards going on.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on over there. But and from what I'm hearing from a musical standpoint, Schotty plugged in.
He let them be free, and they played music. And I leaned over to somebody during practice. I was like, do they normally play music all practice? He was like,
no. So
no.
What you're saying though about Dak is Dak Prescott is more Gumby now than he is Groot, right? I mean, if we're going to use those type of comparison, Groot was stiff. He's a tree or what have you. Where Gumby's more flexible, and he might need to be more Gumby if those tackles don't get there. You know what I'm saying, right?
Sorry, I did the I am Groot.
I am Groot. I wanted you to see. Gotcha. But no, man, I think that is a huge little nugget there. Because I do think the best Dak Prescott is a Dak Prescott that moves around.
Absolutely.
Right? That is just the facts. And I know a lot of people are going to say, man, he's older. We don't want him running around. I'm not asking him to go out there and be Josh Allen and be Lamar Jackson. But he even mentioned this. I'm best when I'm creating outside the pocket as well. Like, step up, get to the side, scramble out, make a play. I'm not saying you got to rush for 40 yards a game. But if you got to get 3 yards and you get us 5, perfect. That's the type of Dak Prescott we're going to need. And I know a lot of people are concerned with the injuries, as they should be, because he is an injury-prone player at this point, and he is getting older. So I'm not going to deny that too high. But I think this aspect is major, because if he taps into that like he did in 23, we're talking about his offense potentially, from a throwing standpoint, run game's different, being even better.
I agree. And you see that, and I'm gonna pay attention with Schotty, but throughout my time being able to be at practices and stuff, I feel like scramble drill has been essential to what they do. They make sure that is a part of what they do and what they practice. And I'm sure every team does, but I know this team, and they emphasize it because the quarterback has the ability to make plays down the field. I remember his rookie year, hearing him, they have recordings of him being like, get your shoulders downfield, get your shoulders square, keep your eyes downfield. So this is something that's ingrained in him, to not give up on the play. It's sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. You'd be like, bro, you can't take that sack right there. But anyway,
no, that's real.
But anyway, no, I think I agree with you, and me and you have always been on the same page about that. I feel like if you take Dak's improvising away, he's just a regular dude. And I think that, and don't get me wrong, do I think he can stand in the pocket and make passes and, scan the field and show off his IQ and stuff? But improvising Dak, a Dak on the move, is very dangerous. And not only that, when you make plays in that way, it's demoralizing for a defense.
Yes.
And we trying to hurt people's feelings. But I also think with Clayton Adams and with Schotty, we're going to see more play action again. And this quarterback, your quarterback, has been top level since the time he got in the league with play action, if I'm not mistaken. I should have got the stats. But yeah. So hopefully more play action and stuff on the move and moving pockets and stuff like that.
You get me? See, that's the part I'm excited about. Is one of the things Schotty said was marrying the run with the pass. I'm huge on dribbling with a purpose. I've been saying that for years. You know that. And I don't think we've done that, even dating back to Kellen Moore. We've just never been an offense that did marry that to a way where we're setting things up on a consistent basis. If you go study Clayton Adams, and then obviously you listen to what Schotty's saying, that's exactly what they want to do. And I think that he's going to thrive in that type of offense, play action, like you talked about, but not just play action. It's accompanied with run action. That's a difference, in my opinion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not shotgun. We're going to fake put the ball and pull it out, but it's no. You're going to get a pulling guard, maybe two, maybe a pulling guard and center one way, then the other way. You maybe got an H back that's going to block the blind side, and now it's a pass type of situation. There's going to be action that affects the first and second level of the defense that'll give more windows for all these receivers and for Dak Prescott to throw the ball. So, if they do what we think they're going to do, I do think this offense, from a passing standpoint, will be a lot more efficient, and it'll have some shot plays as well with it too.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should see improvement with spacing this offense, and that was a big problem. So
let's get on the field real quick. And third down, and there were some practice notes that came out, and man, it's like I don't know where to start, so I'll just talk about some of the things that stood out to me, and we'll go back and forth here. But the Deron Bland note was interesting because one of the things that I was intrigued about was how were the Cowboys going to roll out this cornerback situation without Savon Ravel out there, without Diggs out there, and then newly acquired Kyer Elam, who they said had a pretty good day. He's looking faster. Well, not faster, but he's like one of the faster guys out there. So they had Bland doing some slot things with Elam and Booth on the outside. I came into this thing thinking that with no Ravel and no Diggs, that Bland would play outside, right? Do you think they will stick with that Bland will start the season in the slot while Diggs is recovering, and they'll put Elam and Savon Ravel out there? Or will this be a situation where Bland will slide back out and they'll figure it out opposite until Diggs gets there?
Well, I will say they were rotating guys in and out of, different spots all day.
Okay.
So, so Deron Bland got some burn at the nickel. We saw Wanye Thomas get some burn at the nickel. Israel McQuamu got some burn at the nickel. Troy Pride got some burn at the nickel. They were just kind of switching guys out interchangeably. They're looking for something. They're trying to see who's comfortable where right now. And this is the time to do it.
Yep.
This is the time to do it. Can a guy handle being in the nickel? Can he get through trash? Does he look like he's going to be able to come up and tackle? They can't tackle right now. Like, they're trying to figure that out. I think they are going to give Elam the opportunity to, play on the boundary. And listen, I'm going to be straight up with you. The loss of Jordan Lewis is a big deal. And I know people maybe didn't want to sit on it too long, but we got to figure out who this nickel corner is going to be.
Yeah. It's opened up a big question mark there. For years, we've known it was Jordan Lewis. And obviously, Deron Bland had a great year, but J. Lou had that on lock. And right now, it's up in the air. Maybe Kalen Carson might be able to do some things there. I don't know if they had him there or not.
And I think he's suited for the nickel.
Same.
But nickel, a lot of it is temperament. It is. It's. And I asked Jordan Lewis about the nickel position, and he explained it to me like this. He said that you are the key communicator between the first and the third level. Like, people talk about the linebackers. Dog, like, nickel corners are doing linebacker things.
Yeah.
They're expected to come up and set the edge. They're expected to come up and tackle. They're expected to get through trash. They got to cover the seams. They got to cover the middle of the field. You have to be a great communicator, high IQ, and not be afraid to get your mouth bloody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when we look at matchups, how many times did you look at a matchup last year, Sky, and you looked at the nickel and you was like, oh, he's cooked. Because he was going up against CD. So you already know, too, that the best teams are finding favorable matchups in the interior of the offense or of the middle of the offense. So you need a steady nickel. I'm very worried about this.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna hold you.
I mean,
I'm
it's an excellent observation, and even more so in this specific defense. If you look at how Flus uses the nickel, he uses the nickel more as an edge setter, more as the fifth or sixth guy in the run game. Not saying that they don't cover or what have you, but that's one of their main jobs in this Eberflus defense. And I do think Deron Bland suits that well. We've seen him do it. He come up. He's a bigger guy. He can tackle. He can hit. However, if you do that, then you're weakening the outside, right? So what are we going to do there? I thought Kalen Carson coming out of college had that temperament, right?
I agree.
But then year one happened and he couldn't tackle, maybe lost some confidence, and you wonder, is he going to be able to get that back? And at the end of the day, this is a different regime. This isn't the same regime that drafted him. So they could look at him as, look, we'll give you a shot, but we traded for Elam, not that he's going to be a nickel. We brought back Israel Mukwama, who has the size to be that kind of, edge setter, that lane fitter. But it is definitely one of the biggest question marks on defense for me is who locks down that nickel corner. And if it is going to be Bland, how much do you trust just coming off an ACL, Savon Ravel, who I think is going to be a good player in this league, but he's a rookie. And then Kyer Elam, who obviously has talent. He was a first-round pick, but is that going to work out? So it's a big question mark, too.
Yeah, I mean, and to speak about Siobhan Ravel, he's a little tank, low key.
Yeah, 6'2", what is he, 2-something?
With Siobhan Ravel, I just got an up close look at him yesterday for the first time, and I was like, "This is a big corner."
Yeah,
like this is he looks super strong, but he's tall and he's proportioned healthily, if that makes sense. Like you see some guys like they
evenly distributed.
Yes, he's evenly distributed, kind of like Trayvon, but I think he's more lean than Trayvon. I do. I think he's more lean than Trayvon. And even in his posture, he gives off I'm a confident player. He doesn't give off I'm timid or anything like that. So seeing him up close, I was like, I don't know. I just was like, dang, this is a big corner, bro.
Well, I think we're back in that era of size at that position. Remember how when we had who was it? Chris Richard and Rod Marinelli. These guys wanted length at the position, and so did Will McClay. And guess who's back? Eberflus, who was under Richard and them boys for a little bit. And I think he's kind of following that mode.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 193. He a big.
Yeah,
he a big.
Corner.
That's a big corner, dog.
Yeah.
I almost cried because I seen that baby's birthdays and let's say 20. I can't. It say 2001.
Oh yeah. These kids is kids, man.
Oh.
A lot of these kids coming in now were born in the 2000s, which is mind blowing to me.
Senior citizenship is upon me.
It's nuts, man. And don't y'all get started in the chat either, because they Sky, he was around when Jesus was. But
oh yeah, they do be saying that you elderly.
Yeah. Wow.
But you get discounts.
Wow. Oh, 2i, you gonna do me like that, 2i? You gonna get it?
I get discounts.
I'm not that old. I'm not that old. Let's keep talking about these kids, okay? But he ain't this next player. He ain't built like no damn kid. I tell you that. And let's go back to the conversation you had earlier here in third down. You talked about the Cowboys offensive line is going to have to play some dudes in this division, right? And they got to get these guys ready. And one of the things that this team has done for years is, all right, man, we drafted them, but they got to earn it and they got to get in there. They took Booker and said, we ain't got time to play with you. You're getting in there with the ones right now.
Love it. Yeah. There's no reason to. We're not and that's what I'm saying. I do think now, listening to Schotty talk about competition, I do think positionally guys are going to, we are personally, I could be wrong. I think we're moving into whoever is on the field, that's probably going to be the best person for the job. I think Schotty feels the moment. And I think that he understands that they, like you said, they don't have time to do this, the politics of all that stuff and the extra conversation. He wants the best guys on the field. And for them to go ahead and put Tyler Booker out there and get him acclimated and for him to already just start working with the ones, it's smart. It's smart. Like, I mean, it's so smart. It's stupid because why would it take that long for us to see guys at certain spots? When I think about Rico last year, we saw it during camp. This is the best running back you have on this freaking roster. Let him just play. Let him be the starter at this point. And it took weeks for that to happen.
And Schotty acknowledged that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes football's meritocracy, right? Isn't that what Tony Romo said? And I get it, but sometimes a dude is just better than you, right? And people in the room will realize that. For instance, let's go to the receiver room. Jalen Tolbert knows George Pickens is a dude. Okay, yeah. Jalen Tolbert's not going to fight that fact. He's going to figure out, all right, let me get in where I can fit in to help out this team, right? The staff didn't trade for George Pickens to say, all right, now you got to beat out Jalen Brooks. You got to beat out a Holden. No, sometimes a dude is a dude. When they took Tyler Booker, there were no questions, no doubts that this guy is better than what you have on the roster. And that's all with all due respect. All due respect to the Brock Hoffmans of the world, the TJ Basses of the world. And I know there's people in the chat are going to say, no, Sky, I'm from the old school, man. You got to earn it and things like that. Yes, he'll have to earn his stay, but let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. When they took him, you knew and I knew and everybody knew he was better than a damn Brock Hoffman. So why wait? Let's get him acclimated and make him earn his stay, just like we made Brock Hoffman earn his stay last camp, but he got beat out. So yeah. if you think that Brock is better, then go beat him out. Yeah. And like you said, if that's the case, he'll be on the field, or maybe not because it's a first round pick. Maybe that's an egregious example, but you know what I mean. I agree with you. I think this is going to be a situation with whoever's on the field is because they earned to be on the field and they earned their stay or they beat somebody out.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that you're gonna see that across the roster for real. And in regard to Tyler Booker, even so, in the offensive line in general. Hey, if Brock Hoffman is your backup right guard, that's a blessing. Good. You can win games.
Yeah.
You can still sustain.
Need that
if necessary. I know TJ Bass is coming back from a quad. I got to get my eyes on him a little bit more and see how he's doing. But if he's your swing guard and Hoffman does center things, and then Awesome Richards is your best backup left tackle, whatever the case may be, you have O-line depth that you have seen play. And I think that that's a blessing moving forward, especially with how long the season is.
Yeah, let's get to the running back position because that's something that we're going to have to really monitor once we get to camp. But, I've said this on multiple shows. You're not going to get much from the running backs in the Underwear Olympics of camp or OTAs right now. But the thing you can take away is deployment. You can take away who's rolling out to the rotation. And right now it looks like Javonte Williams is the running back one. And to me, that's not a shocker because of the way this free agency and draft played out. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. When they signed him, I said, well, this has potential to be another Royce Freeman or my man from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? But because I thought maybe they could sign another guy in free agency. Maybe they can draft a guy for agency, or in the draft. That didn't happen. They took Blue, who was more of a complimentary back, right? And that's not diminishing him. I think he's going to be a fantastic style back in that way. But when you look at this room, to me, Javonte Williams is the most trustworthy guy from a 3-down standpoint, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I said when they first took him that whatever his story is, however he plays, to me is gonna be a big decision maker for this running back room. It's either gonna make it or break it to me. I think because if he doesn't turn out and you're relying on Miles Sanders, Jadon Boo, and Phil Maffa, who are obviously two rookies in that, I feel like you're putting yourself in a tough spot. Javonte is also going to help you in pass pro and things like that. He'll be quite a few years. He'll be 2 years removed from his ACL, and he tore his LCL too. I didn't even know that. I didn't know how in depth his injury was. But I didn't even like, when I went back and looked at some of the games, I didn't even like how they were running the ball, the Broncos, with him specifically. I think he's gonna fit into the scheme. I want him to get out
Yeah.
of space, be able to get downhill in a hurry. He has a little bit of that Punisher in him. So I don't keep an eye on how he looks, because I feel like if they feel comfortable with him, maybe they don't go out and go get another guy.
That's what it sounds like is the case right now. They're not looking to get another guy. But the problem with running back is we won't know until camp and preseason.
I agree. No,
You know?
yeah, you're right. And like, but here's the thing though, like, I'm really curious about Lipke. Like, I know that I heard Schotty mention him by name, talk about him, how they view him. I want to know, like, I want to see how they're using him, because I do understand they view him as like a tight end reserve kind of, but then they see him as a fullback, but then they see him as a running back. I think Clayton Adams would find it fun to deploy someone like him, because he's kind of like a chess piece and like those things. But I don't know.
That is going to be very interesting to see how Clayton Adams views him, because historically, if you look at his time in Arizona and in Indianapolis, it's not a position that is utilized under him much. But you look at Schotty likes a position. So this is going to be very interesting to see how they deploy him. Now, what Adams did a lot of is a lot of 13 personnel, where he had, all three tight ends. Maybe they'll deploy 13 personnel, but one of them isn't a tight end. It's Lipke. And then that's where Lipke can be a wild card. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I think that would put stress on defenses. So I agree. I want to see if Lipke's a fighter, but also too, let's keep it 1,000 too. You got to be able to do something on special teams as well. He does that.
He'll do that. Yeah.
He works on special teams. He helps out the offensive line. Like, he has several different like facets he falls into, and I think that does give him value. And when we come down to cuts, that'll be a part of the conversation when they're in those rooms.
Yeah, when you get brought up out of nowhere, unprovoked like that, that means that, Schotty definitely sees a lot in you. It's up to Lipke now to go out there and prove his worth on the field. And I think he can if he's given a shot. It's just that position is tough. You know what I mean? That position is one of those that's dying.
If your running back room is Javonte Williams, Jadon Blue, and Hunter Lipke, what do you feel like?
There's aspects of that room I like for sure. I just worry if we're going to go committee. I think you have to carry 4, right? Obviously, practice squad. Right?
You think so?
But there's practice squad though, so then maybe they'll sneak one of those guys on the practice squad. But when I say committee, I'm always thinking of 3 running backs being used. If we're going to do a tandem, if Javonte Williams is fully recovered and he needs a runway, he's not a creator. I feel like you're going to have to open, and you can get that with this type of style of run scheme. I think we're going to have in his prime or pre-injury, he's a guy that make you miss tackles, and not just like from shiftiness. He'll run your ass over. He just breaking tackles. You saw even in his good runs, you see the lack of explosion that he may have had, and it wasn't like he was an explosive athlete prior to the injury, but there was more to his game. So I think if he's used as a downhill runner, third down guy, he can catch the ball at the backfield. There's something there. Blue is explosive as hell. I think you just got to get Blue involved. And then with Lipke's interesting because he can do some of those. He probably has more explosion than Javonte at this point. And I know that sounds crazy, but Lipke got sneaky ass feet, dog.
Oh no, I know the feet. I know the feet are sneaky. Yes,
I'm very impressed with him at the line of scrimmage and his burst for his size. And this is post injury, right, Javonte? That's what you said. I'm looking to see how is he moving, in this scheme. Give him a runway though. Get downhill. Nobody's going to break more tackles than him from that standpoint. But just from like an agile standpoint, kind of just that short area burst. I didn't see much of it, but that doesn't mean he can't be productive. But anyway, answer your question. That backfield, I think you can get by. I'm waiting to see if you can do more than get by. Can you lean on it when you need to?
And we'll see if they are trying to do more than just get by. Get by.
Right.
When it comes to this. And at the corner position.
They're gonna need to do more than get by when if you get to the postseason at that position, as well as the other side of the ball, which we'll talk more about maybe next week. All right, fourth down. This is something I wanted to do for fourth down. We're gonna call it Say What? All the guys spoke in the locker room, right? The big three. Let me say that. Dak Prescott, George Pickens, and CeeDee Lamb. I want to know one of the things you took away from either one of those guys, all three. It's up to you. And I'll start off to give you a chance to think a little bit here. The thing that stuck out to me from those three, I brought up Dak earlier, where we talked about the culture and Schotty. George Pickens, just a very well-spoken guy, and he's just so confident. He's doing all the right things, saying all the right things right now. I love what CeeDee Lamb had to say, though. I have not seen CeeDee Lamb light up like this in his entire time here with the Cowboys. You can tell he's just smitten. He's just giddy to have a dog on the other side. And they ask CD, if you notice, they keep picking and prodding at him and Pickens. Whoa, man, is it one? Is it B? What if he gets the ball? What if you don't get the ball? They really trying to get him. CD said, quote, if he's tired, I can guarantee you I'm not. Just being his backbone and being here for him and let him know he's got another dog. This is going to be a scary duo if they can jump off the screen immediately. But I love the fact that CD is now on some, hey man, I got to have all the targets and there's that TO aspect, selfish aspect to it. He knows, look, I'm that guy. I got the bag. I'm a made man. I need help. He got his help and he's excited.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I heard
these dudes. Oh, what are you always?
They just nuggets to me. Like immediately I started thinking about you got a friend and
you know what I think about? Brothers, we're happy and we're single and we're colored. Do. Give me a high five and cut. That's
bruh. But to me, when you hear both of them speak and even hearing Pickens speak,
yeah,
these is two dudes that's just ready to win some. They ready. They tired of all of the extra stuff. Obviously, Pickens dealt with some things with the Steelers. They're in a weird position right now. I don't even know what they got going on. Whatever. Obviously, the Cowboys have had their share of ups and downs. CeeDee was without his quarterback almost all last season. So he got that fire in him where he wants to they want to win games.
Yeah.
And especially within this division, I think players are starting to realize like that selfish stuff, it doesn't really get you nowhere for real. Like it's embodied that this is a team sport. When you look at Philly, like they are one of
oh my God, bro.
Trust me, I know. I'm sick of complimenting these dudes, but what are we going to do?
They operate as a team.
Yeah. From the top down, though.
Yeah. What's that?
From the top down.
From the top down, yeah. And don't get me wrong. You have A.J. Brown having a fit every now and then and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he understands, like, eventually you see him come out of it. And when they raise that trophy, don't none of that matter no more.
Mm-hmm.
Don't none of that matter no more. So to me, I think you see two young men who are ready for better for themselves and ready for better for their teams. And they're willing to do that. And I mean, I think an underrated part about Pickens, and again, I know that there's footage of him taking plays off and stuff like that. I think we need to be honest about what he was with while he was there when we talk about that conversation. Not excusing it, but there was a lot wrong.
He's aware of that, I think, too. He understands. And this is why I have belief that he's aware of that. He constantly talks about growth. Okay, he knows people are talking about those plays. He knows people are talking about his temperament, and I think Schotty's going to be really good for him because Tomlin comes from a different. Not saying that Schotty doesn't come from a different era, but Schotty's more Pete Carroll and Dan Quinn in a way.
I feel that.
You know what I mean? And he's trying to bring that vibe where Tomlin. Look, man, it's a different style of coach that I don't think they related as much, and I think Schotty's going to help him grow, but not just Schotty. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, I think would be massive in that. Let's be real. He's 24. He's a young kid. He's figuring things out. He has to grow, and he realizes he has to grow. And I am going to be intrigued. I said this a lot to I want to see if that growth comes to fruition when there's a game that he's not being targeted much. They're losing. CD's not getting off. That's where, okay, I want to show my maturity. I'm not saying you can't be animated, you can't be passionate, but what you can't do is try to bite somebody's face off from an interception. What you can't do is get a 15-yard penalty that costs your team. I want to see if he's grown in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, that's the only place that we're really looking at, growth is his responses, how he handles his emotions, those type of stuff. Because I spoke to a scout, and this kid didn't have any issues with locker room as far as like being on time for meetings, being in his playbook, doing those things. Yes, obviously he is very passionate, but from my understanding, this sounds like a guy that just really
loves the game,
takes it seriously, and was looking at the lay of the land where he was and was just like, y'all not serious for real. And honestly, we saw that offensively when we watched the Steelers.
Yes.
Because we were sitting up here like, oh, it's the Spider-Man meme. Like, oh, you guys look familiar.
Yeah.
So
I can understand his frustration in Pittsburgh.
And we know what CD felt like with that. So it's like, I mean,
I understand it. I get his frustration.
You can't be doing a punch.
What he has to learn to do is direct that energy into something better than trying to bite somebody's face off. Like,
I do want the bite in the faces.
I don't mind. Yeah, I'm biting kneecaps. But don't let it cost you.
Never, no get in trouble though.
Don't get caught. Don't get caught. As an older brother growing up, I realized I can still do the mischievous things. Just don't get caught.
No.
Just don't get caught.
What'd you say?
That's what I'm saying.
Lord, I have no part of what he's talking about.
No, I'm just, look, hey, man, I'm talking to the family. I'm being real here. I'm an older brother of many, many siblings. And I got to a point, man, and now, look, this could be the fourth down off the field thing here. I got to a point where I got tired of getting my ass whooped. I got tired of getting my ass whooped because I kept getting caught. So I said, look, I just got to figure out a way to not get caught. And my little brother, he never figured that out. He's still on punishment for real. If we were still living at the crib, he'd be on punishment right now. Mama, if you're watching, you never caught me after that last time.
I was too scared, Scott. I was too scared. I was paranoid. I'll be the person like, but what if this happens? And then what if that happens? And then what if this happens?
Oh, the goody tissue 2i. Don't let her get twisted. I seen 2i in action during the games. This ain't no.
Don't tell my business.
2i will suit up and jump on that field and play nose tackle for us if we need one. Trust and believe me.
I act a fool. I'm trying to grow. Because it used to be when the Cowboys would lose a game, Sky, my whole week is toe up.
Yeah.
I don't let them do that to me no more. Because obviously we're professionals and all that stuff. Blah. But me and Scott together, y'all, maybe we need to do a watch along.
No. Oh, what are you trying to scare people off?
Bruh, they gonna be like, hey, nurse.
I'm done, man. I'm done with watch. I did one season of watch alongs and I said, I can't do this. I need to be able to move. If you've come to many of those game day lives, you've seen how I am. I can't sit in one spot and just watch a game and then watch people in the chat react crazy like I do for each play. I need my peace.
I need quiet. I don't when the game's on, I don't want nobody talking. I don't want nobody breathing on me. My kids, and by kids, I mean my dog and my cat. They know when the game is on. I'm telling you. They hear dun, 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 dun. They like, let me just go in my corner.
Let me get out the way.
Cause
my youngest son, shouts out to Enzo. He was just born last year. He got a little taste of it last year, and he was looking at me crazy. I had to when we did some of the game day lives at the crib, he was looking at me crazy. I was like, man, I got to go upstairs and watch the games. I can't watch him down here. My son might think I'm crazy, man. Wait, I'm crazy.
Oh, I be stress petting my cat. He be over here, man.
about to give him a burn, got it? Hey, this has been a fun first episode of the Sky and 2i show. Many more to come. We'll smooth out the edges. I'm telling you guys, we are excited. We've been talking about this for, how many months? For so long.
Yeah.
maybe since last year we were trying to get this going, but we're at points in times in our lives where we can get this actually rolling. And by the time the season gets here, we will definitely be more of a regular occurrence for you guys, and it's going to be awesome. It really is. Her access, her smarts, one of the smartest and brightest minds in our community. I'm glad to kind of have you here and do this regularly. So, and look, you don't like compliments, but dang it, you better take this one, okay?
I'm taking the compliments.
All right.
I do like compliments. When you look at this business, man, people, they heads start doing that.
Okay, look, you ain't lying.
That thing, that expanding
You
thing.
ain't lying.
I understand that God's given. I think I'll tell people all the time, like, they be like, how do you know so much about football? I'm like, God gave me a gift. And so I try to walk in the humility of acknowledging that this is not something I really did on my own, because I can't explain why I understand it. I just do. And now it's time for me to take it and master it.
And we are blessed that you are sharing that gift, and she will be sharing it a lot more throughout the off season and season. So just like I said, episode 1, many more to come. You already saw us cutting up a little bit, just get used to it. Hopefully we ain't scaring you away here, man.
We a mess together, but we do good. We do as well as we can.
Yeah, I think we got back on track. But thank you again. And it's weird to say thank you because you ain't no guest, man. You come into the crib, you can go to the refrigerator, get the Kool-Aid, make your own drink. So you ain't no guest. So come on back. We'll see you next week, 2i.
Okay. Bye, Sky.